We are living in a computer-programmed reality, and the only clue we have to it is when some variable is changed and some alteration in our reality occurs. We would have the overwhelming impression that we were reliving the present, déjà vu, perhaps in precisely the same way, hearing the same words, saying the same words. I submit that these impressions are valid and significant, and I will even say this: such an impression is a clue that at some past time point a variable was changed, reprogrammed as it were, and that because of this an alternative world branched off.
Good morning and welcome to the last show of the year for Navigating Astrological Matrix. Big shout out to Dr. Vaj Zulazule hanging out in the chat room. How are you, my dear friends? Good to see you back in the fold. And Janet, the chat room maven, has arrived, and there's Erica. And guess what? I can now start the show. Charlie's Angels. Hello, Angels. All right, it's 10 o'clock here in California. I don't feel great today. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm going to be upfront, honest. I don't feel great. Been fighting off some weird bug for the last 4 or 5 days, and I tried to get some sleep last night. I thought I did a pretty good job of it, to be honest with you. I thought I did pretty well, but yeah, I don't know. I could use some more sleep and some more rest. Anyway, it is the last astrological show for 2011. Since next week I'm going to be off. I'm going to be off all next week, and I will be on the following week, which would be the first week of the new year. We'll kick it off right, and get right back into the swing of things on the first of the year. But next week it is downtime. And I'm going to be just chilling, being with my kid and doing all that family sort of Christmas stuff. So what I do is I take in a lot of information, and I try to regurgitate it back to you in a way that is meaningful, humorous, insightful, maybe even difference-making in your life. And so over the last 24 hours, I've done what I've done, which is taken a lot of information. And I think my last post on the site for, it wouldn't be the last post for this year, but it'll certainly be the last post maybe of the week. We'll talk about the winter solstice and the 24th, which is Christmas Eve. I just ran across this. I'm amazed that I hadn't seen this before. And in fact, I've been searching around, and a lot of the information around this is just kind of like breaking because we're getting closer to the date. But whoever uploaded this in 2009, and I'm amazed that I did not see this. So this is actually pretty good, pretty humbling, but I want to share it with you. This is from a show called In Search Of. In Search Of had two hosts. The one that's more commonly associated with the show is Leonard Nimoy. The original host for In Search Of was Rod Serling. And this is from In Search Of 1973. Okay, 1973. I was 13 years old. I might have even seen this. I wouldn't doubt it. This is Rod Serling talking about the Mayan calendar. And he's talking about the Mayan calendar in relation to a series of glyphs at Uxmal. Now, he's going to have some pretty far out stuff to say in the next 2 minutes. And he's basically going to say that the Mayans have stated here that they're coming back on December 24th, 2011. Keep in mind, this was in 1973. 2011 probably seemed like a dream in the distance. I didn't download this, so it's not a file. I have to play this right off of YouTube. So I'm going to turn my speakers up. But it's worth listening to. And then we're going to get into the astrology for the 24th of December, Christmas Eve. Here we go, Rod Serling about the Mayan end of the world on December 24th, 2011.
This card millions of years ago is still being deciphered. We know the Mayans left a calendar, one that stretches back more than 90 million years, long before civilized man roamed the earth, and forward in time to a day that will mark the close of a crucial cycle. An inscription tells us that the modern period will end December 24th, 2011 AD. We may presume that they were computing the length of a space voyage and marking the exact date of return. They may return to seek the fate of the colony left on Earth. Perhaps at Uxmal they will find answers we have never been able to define. This was one of the last bastions of Mayan society, and here a carving is found, unlike any other in Mayan lore. Clearly a skull and crossed bones. According to legend, it is the dead house, and nearby is another structure marked by a procession of turtles, the Mayan symbol for a long life. Did the final experiments at cloning take place here, near the Great Pyramid of Uxmal? December 24th, Christmas Eve, 2011 AD. On that day, they may return to seek the fate of the colony left on Earth. Perhaps they will settle in the jungle of Uxmal, where, according to legend, Mayan priests talk to their gods through a black, shiny, glass-like rock, an ancient description of a television receiver. We know now how they transported a colony to Earth and what they might have left behind. We have only to learn why they are coming back.
So there we go. It was Rod Serling from 1973, essentially saying that the Mayan calendar ends on the 24th of December, 2011, which, according to my watch, is three days away. So what I did is I went into the long count last night because I was actually very interested in this. So I went into the long count, and I wanted to find out what the Mayan glyph and the number for that day was. So I was very intrigued when I found out what it was. Let me just see if I can find this here. My calendar converter. There we go. So this is the long count. This is not the Arguelles dream spell count. This is the same count that they used from the Dresden Codex, right? And what they found at Chichen Itza, Palenque. So let's go here. Is this the one I'm looking for? No, that's not it. Hold on. Oh, come on. Don't you just hate when you go to these web pages that just they crash you on a web page, and it's like you get there and you can't get out of the web page. I hate that. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go Gregorian to Mayan, and let's do this. Here we go. So the 24th, and we're going to submit that, and what do we got? Gregorian to Mayan. It is not working for me. The day, as I try to find this here, the day is 5 Kaban. 5 Kaban. Let's do this here. Here we go. This is a better one. All right, 24th December. Calculate. There it is. It's 5 Kaban. And Kaban is related to earth changes, synchronicity. It is also known as earthquake, a source of power. Kaban is related to kind of earth tracking, earth clues. It's one of the more powerful glyphs in the Mayan cosmology, and that it relates directly to the earth. 5, according to Arguelles, is the number of empowerment. And according to Arguelles, using his terminology from the dream spell, Kaban is about evolving. So 5 Kaban is empowering in order to evolve. But the Mayans looked upon Kaban as being an energy that needed to be respected, that it could be related to volcanoes, tremors, earthquakes. So when Kaban rolled around on the calendar, everybody was, trying to hold their center. And I would not be at all surprised if they had rituals and sacrificial rituals to the gods in order to appease the earth. So Christmas Eve is 5 Kaban. And apparently there is a partial, now this is where it gets a little tricky. There are people claiming that there is a partial solar eclipse on Christmas Eve. But when you go into a lot of the eclipse databases and software, they don't show it. But there are people that are adamant about this, and that we're not being told about a partial solar eclipse. Now, I haven't run any software or any calculations to figure that out. This is all within the last 24 hours. So if you have any kind of independent investigative energy around this, you can check it out and see if there is a partial solar eclipse. But it's pretty fascinating. It's right on the heels of the winter solstice, which starts today and ends tomorrow. So we're really in the window now of the winter solstice. Anyway, I thought I would throw that out to all of you because it's what I do. By the way, everybody has their Mayan glyph and number based on their birth date. There is one for the long count. There is one for the Arguelles dream spell count. And for most people, the sign, the Mayan sign, and the number are different. For some people, the Mayan sign is the same, but not a lot. I've done a lot of these. Very rarely do the signs correspond. Almost never do the numbers correspond. In fact, they won't. And it's been kind of a source of contention within the Mayan community that we would have these two sort of signifiers that would stand for us. And I remember somebody saying, well, one could be like your rising sign and one could be like your sun sign. I mean, maybe. There's a lot of controversy about Arguelles's handling of the calendar. Quite frankly, I like my sign under the Arguelles calendar. In fact, I've become attached to it. So attached that it's hard for me to let go. However, I'm one of those people that have the same sign in both the long count and the Arguelles count. And my sign is Caban. In the Arguelles calendar, I am 13 Caban, which is endure in order to evolve. And in the Mayan calendar, I am 5 Caban. So my Mayan birthday is on New Year's Eve, theoretically, the end of the Mayan calendar. Now, isn't that something? So I thought I'd just share that with you and wrap your heads around the potential of the Mayan calendar ending on Saturday night. Maybe you want to prepare for that. I don't know. You might want to prepare. How do you prepare for something like that, though? I think you prepare every single day. That's what I think. Okay, let's shift gears and get into some Western mundane astrology. I hate mundane astrology. This is every time I've heard that mundane astrology, it sounds so mundane. We have Venus in Aquarius, by the way, and it's a good time to, what's the word? It's a good time to get over your stuff. Venus in Aquarius allows us to have the emotional distance in order to more harmoniously interact with other people. There is a quality of Venus in Aquarius that is deeply detached and is not such a bad thing. So you can have a feeling of, I would say, to some degree, closeness and to some degree, warmth and generosity. Really, it's more about finding a win-win situation for you and other people. Now, by the way, I see you there, and I'm going to get to you. I have to end this little soliloquy on Venus and Aquarius. So, I had my own Venus and Aquarius moment last night. And as I attempt to do, I will show you how astrology works in action. So I was out last night, and I go to a trivia pub quiz every few weeks, maybe every 3 to 4 weeks. And it starts at 7:30. I'm usually there for an hour, maybe a little bit more. I'll leave by 8:30, 8:45. And most of the time, I bring my son, who is 7 years old. Okay. And he has people, I tell you, when he's there, it's not every now and then a kid is there. And when I say it's a pub, it's a family restaurant. People are eating food. It's a very convivial atmosphere. Socially, it's a very rewarding place. Like last night, we had a guy on our team who's an artist. I never met him before, but he was a friend of a friend. He's an artist, and my son was there. And my son brought some paper and some felt pens, and he was making pictures. And this guy had taken I guess he had his own Sharpie, and he made his own pictures. He was an older guy, a very cool guy. And at the end of the night, they swapped pictures, and then I got a little postcard from him, and he's got an art opening happening in January, which we're invited to. So now all of a sudden, we're meeting this artist. My son's got these cool pictures. It was a very enriching event, and it was all about holiday trivia. And I could sit back and I could watch, and I do this. I watch how people react to my kid in a particular environment. There was a guy sitting next to me at the bar he was playing by himself with his arms crossed. And he was looking at my son, and he was smiling. You know, it gave him a good feeling to see my son in that place. I'm hoping that he wasn't a lech, but I don't think he was. You know, I could see people around the room smile. His presence there gave them a good feeling. Now, I didn't bring him there in order for people to feel good, but I could see that was a byproduct of him being there. So there's wins all over the place. My son gets to socialize with older people, you know, and have to be in an environment that requires a little bit of self-discipline, and he gets to answer questions. I mean, it's a fun thing for him. He likes it. We don't go every week, okay? So I ran a little late last night, and, you know, we've got this ritual where, you know, if he's with me, he calls his mom. If he's with his mom, he calls me. Sometimes we Skype. Most times we Skype. Sometimes we call. So it was that time. It was like 8:43. We were there a little bit later. I punched up her number. I gave him the phone. I said, talk to your mom. Give her a call. He does. I get home, and all of a sudden I've got, you know, all these messages about how it's inappropriate for me to bring him there. He's 7 years old. And the next thing you know, she's texting me, not even talking to me, but texting me about how she wants to change our arrangements and have me have him on the weekends and her have him during the weekdays, which is not in our agreement. We have a 50-50 custody split. And I'm like, okay, so what do I do with this now? I can either get really pissed off, you know, or I could find some other way to talk about it. And so I immediately shot her back a phone text, said, you know, we could talk about it. I doubt if it's something I'm open to, because number one, it's 50-50, and that's not 50-50. Number two, I enjoy having him during the week. So I had to push back. And then she came back with, well, we have to agree upon his schedule. You know, so she wants to determine what he does while he's with me, which I don't necessarily agree with. I think it's important for us to communicate and share and find some common threads or common themes or commonality that we both agree upon. I want this woman as an ally. I don't want to be in a confrontational relationship with her. But at the same time, I'm not willing to allow somebody to completely and utterly dictate, you know, what I do. We're not together anymore. She can't do that, right? She can't. Just like there are certain things that maybe she'd like to do that I can't stop. So we have, you know, it's a tricky place, this co-parenting thing. Anyway, I stepped back and I wrote a very Venus and Aquarius email, and I edited it. I totally edited it and took out all the personal stuff. I kept it as high level and bridge-worthy and connecting as possible without being accusatory or taking as much of a personal stance. Anyway, I'm sharing this with you because what I attempted to do, and not because it was Venus and Aquarius, because I could step back and say, okay, how do I find common ground here for both of us? Now, will it work? You know, we'll see. Time will tell. But you have the opportunity now with Venus and Aquarius to be able to step back and have some perspective, have some objectivity. You know, try to see how the other person feels. Do your best. The one thing about Venus and Aquarius is that it's fixed. And once you get a fixed ideal about a particular situation, like Aquarius is very open, but it's also fixed. Venus and Aquarius, social agape, that's what I call it. Okay, let's get to the phones. I don't know how long I will be on today because I feel funky. But I will take some calls, I'll do some readings as long as we have callers. So let's get to one right now. Hi, you're on the air with Robert.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, this is Paula.
Hi, Paula. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for asking. I feel a little funky, but I'm gonna soldier on today and get through it.
Okay.
So, what's on your mind today, Paula?
Well, I'm PJ in the chat room, so today's my birthday.
Oh, well, happy birthday.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's probably a really powerful day this year with the shift and all that. My question is the year 2012. I want to know, what's coming up for me, career-wise, romance, things like that, what kind of challenges I'll have in the year 2012.
Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to, since you were the only person in the queue, and since it is your birthday, I'm going to do a full natal chart for you. How does that sound?
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, so let's go here and edit this. Okay, so we know your name is Paula. Put that down there. And where were you born, Paula?
Worcester, Mass.
And what was the date on that?
December 21st, 1967.
Of course, 1967. Okay. And what time was that?
That I don't know because I was adopted.
Oh, wow, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put unknown in the field, and usually when that happens, it just comes out as put Aquarius, Aries on the ascendant. All right, let's do this. Let's go USA and Worcester. That's with a W-O-R, right?
Yep, W-O-R-C-E-S-T-E-R.
Yep, Worcester.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm looking at your chart, and it's an equal house chart based on your planets, and I'm sorry, based on the time, which is they have it at 12 p.m. Universal Time, 5 p.m. Have Aries on, so it's hard for me to completely get a read without your ascendant in place, but I'll do my very best.
Okay.
You have first of all, how much do you know about your chart? Let's start there.
Not a lot.
Okay. Well, you're a Leo moon. Did you know that?
No.
Okay, so you have Sun in Sagittarius at 29 degrees. That is called the anaretic degree of Sagittarius. Well, it's to 29th degree is the anaretic degree of any sign. And there are 30 degrees in each sign. And, 30 being kind of like, when it goes basically from 29, and the next number would be 0. So the 0 is like the 30, right? It's the 30 and the 0, okay? So
yeah.
you are technically in the last degree of Sagittarius. Now, what that means is that the anaretic degree is somebody who, I mean, if we take into account, like, say, past lives, right? If we take into account, like, past lives, maybe in a past life you've learned almost everything you can about being a Sagittarius, and now what you really want to do is you want to get to Capricorn, right? Because that's the next sign. So there's there is an inner drive to move towards a more Capricornian expression in your chart.
Mm-hmm.
But because you're born at the final degree of Sagittarius, according to sort of classical astrology, you need to honor that, right? So the dynamic would be you would want to achieve some sort of Capricornian expression, which is very businesslike, in some ways conservative, really competent. Looking at goal setting. These are all very Capricornian issues. Respect for authority, respect for procedure, respect for protocol. Again, all Capricorn. And Capricorns do that because they believe that if they do that, they will be able to get ahead, that there's a structured map to get to the top of the mountain. That's Capricorn, right? However, because you're at 29 degrees Sagittarius, you need to be able to hold on to some of that Sagittarian energy or Sagittarian focus, which is to be more kind of freewheeling, free-spirited, philosophical. Sagittarians aren't necessarily the best goal setters. You know, Sagittarius likes to sort of play it as it lies. You know, Sagittarius is very open to inspiration, whereas Capricorn is all about preparation. So this would be the difference between the 29th degree and the 0 degree of Capricorn. You know, Sagittarius also is very philosophical and can be very religious and loves nature. So what you would be challenged with is striking a balance between wanting to embrace, you know, the energy pulling you towards the next degree and really what your nature, your Sagittarian nature is. Now, the good thing is that you have Mercury in Sagittarius, which at 25 degrees, which is within a 4-degree orbit of your sun, giving you a very Sagittarian sort of outlook on life, you know, philosophically, communication-wise. Mercury's in its fall in Sagittarius. Here's how Mercury in Sagittarius works. Mercury in Sagittarius could have an answer to a very profound kind of philosophical question or moral question, right? And how they get there has nothing to do with reason, right? It would just be like, well, you know, this is how it is because I believe that's the way it is. That's Mercury in Sagittarius. And the funny thing is that many times they can be right. You know, and it's like, well, people will say, well, how did you arrive at that? Well, I don't know. I just believe that. You know, I just feel that way. I know it's right. I know it's true. And that's what's that would, you know, like a Gemini, Mercury in Gemini would create a thesis on why something is what it is or why something is right. And Sagittarius would just bypass the thesis, say, hey, you know, this is why the sun rises every day, or this is why God exists. You know, and what happens is that sometimes people with Mercury in Sagittarius, because they have such keen insight and good instincts, they trust them too much and they can get a little sloppy. So, but I like your Sun Mercury conjunction, and it's really good for learning. It could be, you know, studying on your own, or if you ever wanted to even teach at maybe a college level, maybe even a junior college level, Sun conjunct Mercury would be very good. Your Moon is in you've got a nice trine between your Moon and your Sun. Moon in Leo is very warm, it's very loving, it's very, at times, emotionally ostentatious. People who have Leo moons can be very dramatic. So you've got a nice sort of, you know, fire thing going on there. You also have Saturn in Aries. It does not quite make a grand trine because your Sagittarius planets are late in degree. But again, Saturn is in a fire sign. So you've got three fire signs in your chart: Sag, Leo, and Aries. And your true node is in Aries as well. Your true node does trine your Sag, and it does trine your Moon. So theoretically, you do have a grand trine if you take the true node into account. So staying inspired, staying fired up, staying passionate, these are all very important pieces for you. I would say that for 2012, you've got Jupiter in Virgo, and the first part of 2012, Jupiter is moving into the early degrees of Taurus. It's at 0 degrees Taurus now. It's going to go direct towards the end of the month. And from January 1st on to maybe the end of January, you're going to have a Jupiter trine. And because you have Jupiter in Virgo, you know, you're rewarded by expanding in the areas of health, expanding in the areas of service, expanding in the areas of paying attention, paying attention to details, being organized. That's where Jupiter takes off in Virgo. And when you have a Jupiter trine in Taurus, those qualities will get amplified. So, it would be a really good time for you at the beginning of the year to invest in your health, whatever that means, right? It could be, like most people do, they get a gym membership at the beginning of the year, but in your case, you would actually go, and you would actually, it would be worthwhile. It would be a very, very good investment. It would also be really good for you at the beginning of the year to really take stock of your finances, because and this is what's coming to me just kind of intuitively, is that if you sat down first of the year, maybe even start now, ramp up to it, that if you go through your finances with a fine-tooth comb, which you don't necessarily want to go through all the time with that Mercury and Sag, you would find that there would be, whether it's with your taxes or whether it's unpaid collectibles, you would find that there are certain things that you weren't aware of or hadn't considered, which would actually pay off for you. So don't be afraid to get down and really look at your financial situation. With all that Sag is a very generous sign, and it's like, you know what, I will spend, and I know it'll come back to me. The universe is an abundant place and all that stuff, right? But Jupiter trying to be in the year is really helping you focus in a very kind of expansive way in and of itself, to pay attention to your financial situation, to sit down and just and chart everything that's coming in, where it's going, and more importantly, where you want to be at the end of 2012 financially. Okay, because now when you've got the Jupiter trine, you can use that energy to kind of, in some ways, program your future, right? So you can say to yourself, well, here's what I would really like. This is what I want by the end of this year. I want to be out of debt. I want to be, whatever that is for you. You write that down. Very important. Not need to be, want to be. I want to be, or I choose to be, which is even better. I choose to be debt free. I choose to have a safety cushion in my bank account that's no less than $5,000. You want to do that at the first of the year, okay? Because the universe theoretically, with the Jupiter trine, would support that, okay? Uranus is going to be moving closer and closer to your natal Saturn in 2012. This actually produces a sense and feeling of restlessness. Uranus in Aries is all about action. It's now. It's impetuous. It is the expression of will, personal will, in radical terms at times. You have Saturn in Aries. Saturn in Aries is a little tricky. Aries wants to do things. Aries wants to make things happen, and Saturn is the energy, or the template of the energy, is to slow down. Saturn is about longevity. It's about legacy, consistency. So the energies, even though Aries is a ram and Saturn rules Capricorn, which is a goat, you would think that they're not in astrology actually square one another, even though they're both cloven-hooved animals. But it's a very different expression. It's a hard expression for Aries sometimes. People that have Saturn and Aries, their big lesson in life is patience. They have to learn patience, and over time, they have to learn how to be able to direct their will in a way that has long-term results. Short-term results with Saturn and Aries are not rewarded. So you have to think long-term and use your will towards long-term. Uranus on top of Saturn will give you a sense of restlessness, like you're not where you want to be in life. Like you want to be further. You want to be whatever that is. And so in 2012, you get to practice patience even more, because a lot of times when Uranus is on your Saturn, you will have events that will manifest in your life that look like they're kind of chaotic or coming out of nowhere, and then you have to deal with them. You have to apply Saturnian patience and all that stuff. So it's really about learning how to channel this kind of radical, impetuous, willful energy. I come back to the exercise thing. When you have Uranus on Saturn, you've got to run the energy. And running the energy means you need to work out. You need to be able to be okay in your own skin. A lot of times on Saturn will make you jump out of your skin. So running the energy, very important for you in 2012. Getting fit, staying in shape. If you're feeling squirrely, you're feeling anxious, go out and burn some of that stuff off.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm just trying. A lot of your planets are outer degrees. When I look at your chart, Sun, Sag, 29, Moon, Leo, 24. You're going to have a Jupiter-Neptune opposition. Neptune, I think, gets to 2 degrees in 2012, and you're also going to have a Chiron Jupiter opposition. Both of those signs are in Pisces. So, what Neptune in Pisces and Chiron in Pisces will theoretically do to your Jupiter is that it will stretch your visionary nature. It's like Jupiter and Virgo can be very practical, and Neptune opposing Jupiter gives you this opportunity to kind of expand your awareness, expand your mind, expand what's possible in terms of, spirituality or religion or even things like psychic awareness. What you want to be careful of is you want to watch out. The word that comes to mind for me with this is charlatans. Okay, you want to watch out for charlatans in 2012, and that could be anybody that appears too good to be true. And it could be a relationship. It could be somebody who promises you, some form of instantaneous enlightenment. Use your discernment in 2012. Very, very important. But at the same time, you are being called in some way to open up to the possibility of having some really visionary experiences in 2012. One of the cool things in some ways, about the Neptune and Chiron opposition of Jupiter and Virgo is that theoretically, I'll use this as an example, right? Let's say, for instance, you were really into going to the Amazon, right? And you wanted to go to the Amazon and you wanted to take ayahuasca, or you wanted to go to the Amazon, you wanted to learn about indigenous herbs, right? That's kind of a very visionary thing. I want to go to the Amazon. I want to hang out with the Yanomami. I want to do this. So I want to blend with my environment, nature, and I want to feel what that's like. And so that's a very kind of, in some ways, a very Neptunian thing. And so you'd go off and you would have your vision quest or whatever that is. And now you would come back, and Jupiter and Virgo is very practical. It'd be like, well, how do I expand on that? How do I take what I just experienced in a very visionary kind of way and make it applicable to my life, and actually maybe make a career out of it, or use it to benefit myself monetarily and other people monetarily. So what you want to do is you want to find this dance between, having a visionary experience and then bringing it home and making it practical. That's the opposition. Okay. Relationship-wise, you've got Venus in Scorpio in your chart. Right now we've got Mars in Virgo. Mars will be in Virgo for at least another 8 months. We got a funny Mars. It's in Virgo for a really long time, and then I think around June it moves out of Virgo, and then it goes. But from June to December, it gets from Virgo to Aquarius really quickly. So you're going to have a Mars. First, you're going to have Mars. Right now, you're on a Mars-Jupiter conjunction. That's right now, and that's cool. That's good. That gives you, again, a lot of energy to get organized and to make. And it's not just like, see, when I say organized, it's not like sitting around and cleaning your desk up and getting your files together. It's about getting your life, together, getting your life organized. Like, who in your life is really on your side. you say, yeah, that person's a keeper. Who in your life is dragging you down? Who in your life owes you a favor? Who in your life owes you money? Who in your life, it's like, what part of my life do I need to, I got to stop having Haagen-Dazs 4 nights out of the week before I go to bed. It's stuff like that, right? It's about getting the entirety of your life organized. So Mars is actually helping you theoretically out with that. It will move ahead. We'll get a Mars-Venus sextile probably in February, and I have to let me open the ephemeris. But with the Mars-Venus sextile, to me, that signals the potential to have a healing impact in relationships in your life.
Okay.
And that could be anything from an existing relationship going through kind of an overhaul and a diagnostic to meeting somebody who could be a very healing force and presence in your life in terms of your relationship. The big ticket item for you doesn't really happen in 2012 with relationships, but 2013. In 2013, Saturn will move towards your natal Venus, and eventually you're going to have a Venus-Saturn conjunction in 2013. That's important. Venus-Saturn conjunctions usually portend relationships of destiny. And when Saturn is in Scorpio, that's a very big transit for you because you also have Neptune in Scorpio. And your Neptune is at 25 degrees. Your Venus is at 16. It's a very wide conjunction. You're getting some of that Neptune energy. But 2013 is when you really focus on relationships. You really focus on power in relationships. Venus in Scorpio, one of the things that deals with, it's, who has power in a relationship? What is power in a relationship? Can it be shared? Is power sex power? Is power money power? Is power interpersonal power? That's what people in Venus have. When people have Venus in Scorpio in their chart, that's what they're dealing with. That's their life lesson. It's about sharing power. It's about understanding power, but it's all within the confines of relationship. So 2013 is a big year for you with relationship in regards to personal power, sexual power, all that stuff. Okay. So I would say by and large, you've got 20. I would say, quite honestly, the big year for you is going to be 2013 when Saturn moves closer and closer to your natal Scorpio. That's 2020. I would say for the most part, 2012 for you is about organization. It's about intention. It's about really firming your life up. Because I think what you want is when Saturn moves into Scorpio, what you want to do at that point is you want to focus on relationships. You don't want to deal with your job. You don't want to deal with any other stuff because that's going to take the majority of your focus and your attention. So get it all together. Get it all together in 2012. You have a lot of energy that supports that. Jupiter is going to be moving into Gemini in the middle part of 2012, but you're not going to really feel it until 2013 because Jupiter will be at the final degrees of Gemini, and you're going to get some of the oppositions between your natal Mercury and your natal Sag, and Jupiter's oppositions if anything, Jupiter oppositions give us too many opportunities. So again, 2013 will be about play and fun and lots of social engagement, but that's at the beginning of 2013. So there you go. I mean, how's that sounding to you?
Well, you hit the nail right on the head with a lot of things. Let me just tell you what I'm going through. I've had the same job for 21 years, but I have another job. I'm a holistic health counselor. It's my own business. I've been doing that for about 2 years, and I'm trying to transition out of the other job. I work in a prison. Very negative. So I'm stuck. I don't want to be there much longer. So I am in the process of organizing my life, just trying to get my career going, find something that will work for me that I can leave there and retire from there. As far as finances, same thing. I mean, doing my business is killing me financially.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure that whole mess out and get out of that, get out of the debt. So yeah, you kind of hit the nail right on the head. I end up very intuitive. So I've been trying to play with that and learn to use my intuition a little bit more. Because I feel a calling, like I need to help people once I develop it.
Mm-hmm.
So you did hit the nail right on the head with a lot of things.
Well, okay. So as you were talking, one of the things that came to me was that you need a partner.
Okay.
You need a partner with your business.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean that's very stressful. You know, you work in a stressful environment, and now again, you put we're working with intention. So the first part, and this is perfect, by the way, with the alternative health, home care, alternative health, perfect. First part of 2012, write it out. If you had somebody that could work with you or a partner, what would they look like? Would it be a man? Would it be a woman? Would they have money? Would they have their own sort of slant to their practice? Would they be really good at clerical stuff, books? Try to envision that, because when you said that to me, it just came. It was just like bang. She needs a partner. And again, with Venus in Scorpio and Saturn in Scorpio, right, in 2013, that would be a time where you would really work hand in glove with a partner in order to bring healing and change in people's lives. Because again, we're talking relationship, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So good for you. And yeah, it's interesting, this whole opposition. This whole opposition with Jupiter and Neptune and Pisces and Chiron and Pisces opposing your Jupiter. Do you know there's one sign more than any other sign that represents prisons, and that's Pisces.
Okay.
So here you have the sign of prisons, and Chiron and Neptune opposing Jupiter and Virgo. Jupiter is where we are supposed to go in order to experience our most expansive part of our nature. It's like theoretically, we're hanging out before we come into our body, and we dial up our gifts, and the gift falls under Jupiter, right? It's like bang, Jupiter, health, healing, personal service. This is what I'm bringing to this lifetime, right? And if you go there and you work on that, that's the easiest. It's where the most ease happens for people. So they want to do it. They're passionate about it. They're most expansive about it. So here you have Neptune and Chiron coming in, and it's opposing that. It's pulling on that, And I think that this is good. This is a really dynamic transit for you, and it's going to force you to really get into your Jupiter and really plan for the type of post-prison career that you want. Factor in a partner. Okay, I think it's really important.
I do work with a woman every once in a while. We do classes together. So we did partner up to a point, but she needed money, and so she takes other jobs. So we're not like full partners, but we do work together when we can. But I'm hoping to maybe partner with another business or something like that. Where I can really get a steady income, or even do something over the internet.
Yeah, I think that's where it's at. And the image I got for the partner was male, by the way. It was not a female image. It was.
Okay.
Don't get wedded to it, but that was just the energy I was picking up on.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, Paula, you're a delight, and I want to thank you for calling in the show. And really enjoy this day. It's a really cool day to have a birthday. Right on the winter solstice. You can, the thing about the winter solstice is it's a time where you can, get into some really good intention work. So what you want to do is you want to, over the course of the next 24 hours, do your best to create a real sacred space. Light some candles. Really do your best to commune with, what we would call God, or some people like to say the higher self or whatever. I mean, I think that there really is a sacred and holy energy that deeply wants to support us in our highest and best aspirations and manifestations. And so commune with that and give thanks for that. Invoke it, invite it to come into your life in 2012 and say, I want to be able to serve and love and heal and support myself in a way that is comfortable enough for me to do my work. It's a great window of opportunity in the next 24 hours. And it's your birthday, too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, if there was something special I should do on this day.
Well, there you go. And do something good for yourself. Yeah. Okay?
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
No problem. Take care.
Okay, you too. Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right. Our friend Paula from Worcester. Okay, we got somebody on the 704 line. Let's see who they are, what they want to talk about. Come on, open up. You there? You there? You there? You there? There? Come on. What's happening? Let's try this. Hello?
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, this is Jeff. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Jeff. Where are you calling from?
Salisbury, North Carolina.
Okay. What's on your mind today, Jeff?
Well, I had kind of the same question that the previous caller had. I'm thinking about maybe relocating to kind of get my career going, moving in kind of a new direction. And I just kind of want 2012 to be kind of like a year that I create a completely different Jeff, I guess.
All right.
Well, previous years.
Yeah, let's see what we can do. When's your birthday, Jeff?
February 5th, 1969.
Okay. All right. And so moving is a part of this, right?
Right.
Do you know what time you were born?
4:40, I believe, a.m.
Okay. And where was that?
Right here, Salisbury, North Carolina.
Okay. Is that S-A-L-I?
S-A-L-I-S-B-U-R-Y.
Yeah, Salisbury, yeah. And there you are. Okay, you're on the 35th. Okay, so I'll ask you a similar question I asked Paula. Do you know much about your chart?
No, I don't.
Okay. You're an Aquarius. You know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that.
You're a Capricorn rising, and you have Moon in Virgo. So Capricorn rising means Capricorn is in the first house. It's how you project your identity into the world. And currently Pluto is in your first house. And when people go through a Pluto first house transit, I mean, literally Pluto has just been dancing on your ascendant. It's now 5 degrees, so it's 4 degrees inside your first house. There is a deep desire to experience personal transformation. So when you say, I want a new Jeff in 2012, I mean, that is right in alignment with Pluto. You know, Pluto's going to be in your first house for quite a while. It's going to be there for another 14 years. So what you get to experience over the next 14 years is a deep sense of transformation, and there will be a new Jeff, and you get to practice on it for quite a while. One of the things that Pluto in the first house also, Jeff, has to do with power, and experiencing personal power and how that power interacts with institutions, because Capricorn is a very institutional sign. So with Pluto and Capricorn, theoretically, over the course of the next 13 to 14 years, you'll be exploring how you fit into traditional structures of power. And generally speaking, the more at ease you are with that sense of power, and you've got some challenges around that, by the way, because you've got Jupiter in Libra, you have Uranus in Libra, and Jupiter in Libra, Uranus in Libra, they're all about win-win. Everybody, we got to find a win-win for folks. And in a lot of ways, when people are into kind of win-win or having balanced and reciprocal relationships, there's a real dance with power. It's like maybe you give your power away in order for somebody to get something that theoretically would bring balance into a relationship or balance into an interaction, or maybe you would empower somebody in order for yourself to be empowered, because that's how Libra works sometimes. Libra likes to, like, I will do things for you because I want you to notice this, because really this is how I want things done for me. And that's very, very Libra. And Libra is really strong in your chart with those two planets super conjunct. They're within 2 degrees of each other up in the 9th house. You've got a really strong 9th house. You've got Moon in the 9th house, Pluto in the 9th house, Uranus in the 9th house, and Jupiter also in the 9th house. People that have a lot of planets in the 9th house tend to be, for the most part, free spirits. They want to be able to experience the world on their own terms from a much more expanded perspective. And I think what we're seeing here with Pluto in your first house squaring Uranus, Pluto in your first house squaring Jupiter right now as we speak, there's a desire to not only have a new Jeff, but a new Jeff that is a much more expanded and freer version of the old Jeff, right? That's like, it's not just to say, hey, I want to be more fit, I want to be more efficient, I want to be steadier. That's not really, that would be, I don't know if that describes you now, but let's say it didn't. That wouldn't necessarily be the totality of the new Jeff that I think wants to come through based on these squares. The new Jeff that you want to come through, that wants to come through, is not just somebody who is feeling a sense of empowerment and understanding where they want to go in this world, but also much bigger picture, bigger feelings, bigger perspective. It's like really taking a much larger chunk out of life itself, right? More meaning. Travel obviously would be a very important aspect when you've got the square going on with the 9th house. There's a desire to break free, really, with Pluto squaring Uranus and Pluto squaring Jupiter. The challenge here with your chart, it's very, very interesting, is that when you go down, we look at your chart down in the 3rd house, right? The 3rd house theoretically is like, if the 9th house is around the globe, the 3rd house is around the block. And while you have this very strong desire to see the world from a much more expanded view, which is the 9th house, the 3rd house, you've got Chiron, you've got your true node, you've got Venus, and you've got Saturn all in the 3rd house. So there's a real dilemma in some ways of having a deeply rooted and local connection to where you are, whether it's family, whether it's brothers and sisters, whether it's the place where you feel safe, whether it's the place where you've had some success in your life. There are things that keep you rooted around sort of the place that you grew up with. But on the other hand, there's this real desire to, take it, up to the heavens, really, because that's the 9th house. But just like our last caller, Paula, when we deal with oppositions, what you want to do is it's a very dynamic sort of interplay with oppositions. Ideally, again, with this 9th house, 3rd house dialectic, what you would want to do is you would want to go out and travel and go to places and have experiences, and then bring that energy back to where it is that you're living, and then share it locally. Because we cannot move away from the importance of the true node. And the true node for you is right there in the 3rd house, and it's at 0 degrees Aries. You have a true node, Chiron, 0 degree conjunction. I've never seen it before, and it's important. You have to pay attention to it. Really, really important. So when we look at true node, in the third house, what we're talking about here is somebody who has actually qualities of leadership. You've got Venus in Aries also in the third house as well. So you can be somebody in your own area who, if you wanted to, you can really take the bull by the horns and be kind of a civic leader or a social leader, or implement ideas on a municipal level. You have this kind of hardwired in your chart. And what's happening now is Pluto again is squaring your natal Venus in Aries. Are you in a relationship now?
Well, there's someone I'm out of currently like right now, but we're just kind of friends.
Okay. When you have a Pluto-Venus square, there's tension. And it can be dynamic tension, it can be sexual tension. There's definitely some tension. And part of, if you wanted to move or go to another place, that square would definitely bring that tension up. So here let's play this game for a second. Let's say, for instance, you wanted to go to another place, right?
Right.
And all of a sudden you're like, okay, here we go. I'm getting ready to go. I'm getting ready to leave. All of a sudden, what would happen is the person that you would be interested in would all of a sudden say, "Hey, Jeff, you're the greatest guy in the world. I had a dream about you last night. And I really feel like we should be together," or something like that. That would be how that square would work out. When you would commit to a different course of action, the relationship would be, or the quality of relationship would be stressed and would likely challenge your desire to want to go to another place.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting because, this person that I'm interested in, they live in probably about an hour away from me, and they were thinking about moving too, and they said, well, I'm going to move, and you should come along with me. So it's kind of interesting.
There we go. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do you want to move? Let's do a little astrocartography for you. Where do you want to move?
Well, I was thinking Atlanta was one of the places I was looking at. So
Atlanta. Okay. It's probably going to be along the same lines, but let's check it out here. So astrocartography allows us to see our chart splayed across the planet, and it shows us where theoretically we can have a successful stay. So let me see. Oh man, did they get rid of it? They didn't get rid of it, did they? Oh, there we go. Okay, here we go. So let's go look at you for, it's going to be very close to, it's very similar to, I think, where you are now. Okay, all right, so, all right, so are you in Carolina now?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Are you near Charleston at all?
I'm about 4 hours away from there.
All right, so Saturn runs right through where you are. Your Saturn line on the IC. That is, so Saturn on the IC, which is Imamcelli, which is your fourth. It's in your chart. It's right on the third house, fourth house, and a lot of times when you have Saturn running right through that line, it is hard to get off that line. In fact, I actually talked to somebody last week who was in Florida, or 2 weeks ago. Same deal. They had Saturn running right through there, and it's like it's hard to move off of Saturn. It's a part of where you were born, where you were living. It's like entrenched, right? If we click on Atlanta, let's just see what we have here. So there's not a lot of astrocartographic action for Atlanta. In some ways, it would be maybe similar to Charleston energetically. Now, if you want some other locations that would be kind of interesting for you in terms of moving, you've got a pretty intense spectrum of energy lines that run right through the middle of the country. For instance, your Pluto on your MC, which is your midheaven. If you want a new job, right, it would be going through places like, let's see what we got here, Denver, Oklahoma City, probably Santa Fe. This is what else? Jackson, Wyoming. These are all along that line. If you wanted to have a new career, that would be a great place for you to be totally transform your career. But right in the middle of the country, Oklahoma City, Kansas City, to some degree Minneapolis, this is where your IC is. Your true note is. So it would really be about, so theoretically, if you wanted to relocate that third house, right, all that third house stuff, it would be all along those lines. Minneapolis would be a great place for you. That's where your Jupiter is running right through, and would be on your midheaven at that point. Pretty much anywhere in the center of the country, really, major action, major rebirth. If you wanted to move and have astrology make a difference in your life, I would go further west in Atlanta. I would explore those places, and none of them, by the way, are terrible. In fact, in some ways, if we look at Uranus and Jupiter, right, which is up in your ninth house, right? We saw that, we talked about that. Right. That's where you activate the ninth house. That's where you get a sense of vision, a sense of freedom, a sense of expansion. It's all along the middle of that corridor. What else? Dallas, Texas. Dallas, Texas would be a good place for you. San Antonio, Austin, all along that line, really supportive. Houston to a certain extent, but you just start in San Antonio and just take a line and just draw it straight to the center of the country. Anywhere along that line, any city along that line, that would be a really profound move for you. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I never really considered it the Midwest, but it sounds interesting.
Could be. Absolutely. What kind of work do you do, Jeff?
A teacher.
You're a teacher. Okay. Employable skills in most places. You may have to take a few tests, but relocate. By the way, teaching is a great profession for you. What grade level do you teach?
I teach middle school, sixth grade.
Okay. You've got all those planets up in the ninth house. Ninth house, Sagittarius, generally relates to teaching. So you've actually you've managed to be in the right field with Pluto now in your first house in Capricorn, though. That would mark a shift in some ways from being a teacher to an administrator. So that would be being a principal, a superintendent of schools, things like that. So you may want to begin to reframe your thinking about how you're showing up in the education world, because Pluto will say you need a bigger challenge than just teaching. You could be implementing programs or things along those lines. Don't be afraid to get into an apprentice program or a junior program or whatever that would be for you to move into being an administrator. I think you would like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I never really considered that route either.
Okay, well, here we go. New vistas opening up right and left today.
But that's all very interesting, though.
Yeah.
Very interesting. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks for calling in. Have a great day. And if you do make a move, call back and share it with us. Tell us how it's going.
I definitely will. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. It was Jeff from Carolina. He had a very gentle voice, didn't he? I like that. Sound like a humble guy. So it's 11:15. I tell you what, man, here I am. I'm doing readings. I felt crappy when I started the readings, and I feel a lot better now. Isn't that great? I feel a lot better. Let's see. Friday, the last show of the year, I will have Less Visible. Ooh. Less Visible on the air with me from Basel, Switzerland. He's got 5 blogs: Smoking Mirrors, Visible Origami, lessvisible.com. And it's going to be an interesting show. Fascinating guy. His work, by the way, with Patrick Willis, some of the YouTube videos he and Patrick Willis do, wow. Patrick Willis's voice is pretty amazing, too. He's a South African. Patrick Willis is like the voice from God. you've ever heard his voice. Okay, it's 11:15. I think I'm going to play a piece of music, duck into the chat room, see how people are today, and if there are any folks on the other side of the song that are in the queue that want a reading, I'll do some more readings coming out. I'm energized now. And if not, then I'll probably wind the show down a little bit. Yeah, just before I go into the chat room, got a good Mercury retrograde story for you. Maybe I'll save that. In radio parlance, this is called a tease. And I will share with you a positive resolution to a Mercury retrograde story as it relates to astrology on the backside of this song. What do I want to play? Venus is in Aquarius today, so I can't really play other people's music now because these are going to YouTube. So what do I want to play? What do I have here? I've got too many songs in here. Let me see. Hold on. You know what? Tell you what. Let's try this. Let's play Reefer Man. Let's see if YouTube picks this up. This song theoretically should be in imminent domain. Let's play a little Don Redman, Reefer Man. I'll be back in 3 minutes and 32 seconds.
Say, did you ever meet that Reefer Man?
No, I never met the guy. Tell me about it.
Oh, no, you're not kidding me now, are you? You never met the Reefer Man? Oh, no, you never met the Reefer Man? And yet you say you swim to China and you wanted to sell me South Carolina? I believe you know the Reefer Man. Did you ever meet the funny Reefer Man? You never met the funny Reefer Man? And yet you say you walk the ocean anytime you take a notion? Yeah, I believe you've seen the Reefer Man. Met that funny Reefer Man? Have you ever met that funny Reefer Man? Oh, he trades you dimes for nickels and he calls watermelon pickles. Yeah, I'm talking about the Reefer Man. You ever meet that little old Reefer Man? Did you ever meet that little old Reefer Man? If he takes a sudden mania and he wants to give you Pennsylvania, I'm still talking about the Reefer Man. Have you ever met that little old Reefer Man? Ever met that funny little Reefer Man? If he sells Wall Street, is frantic, and because he won't sell on the Atlantic. Oh, that's that Reefer Man. Acquainted with the Reefer Man. Yeah, Jim, I know the Reefer Man. If I claim I own a portion of the Rockefeller fortune, and you know I just left that Reefer Man. Yeah, I know the Reefer Man. Yeah, I'm well acquainted with the Reefer Man. So if I claim I have $1 billion and I want to trade it to you for $1 million, I just left that Reefer Man. How well I know the Reefer Man. Oh, I'm so well acquainted with the Reefer Man. So if you hear me snip and giggle, start to squirm and wiggle, oh, that little Reefer Man.
Redmond, Reefer Man. The chat room is happening, man. Shout outs to everybody in the chat room. Gate 7, hanging out there. Gemini Sun, Madison. Good stuff. Mustang Sally. I want to thank everybody for, I just want to thank everybody for listening to this show. It is really an incredible gift. I can't tell you how much of a gift it is for me to be able to do this on a consistent basis, and to actually know that there are people that think that whatever I'm saying here has some merit, and it gives me a great deal of purpose and meaning in my life. So I want to thank you for listening. Thank you for participating and being a part of this. It's really an incredible experience for me, and I think we've had a really good run in 2011 with the show. It's gotten bigger, more numbers, and we have Erica, who is doing an amazing job uploading all the stuff onto YouTube, and so you can get this show and any other show, not just here on Blog Talk, but also on YouTube as well. So things are looking up for 2012, and hopefully we can take this whole thing to the next level. And I say we, I'm talking about you, and not just this show, but our lives and our experience on the planet. We are staring down some very intense times. On Twitter today, I posted a link to an interview that recently just took place on C-SPAN, with Jonathan Turley. Jonathan Turley is a law professor at George Washington University, and I urge you to watch this interview. He specializes in privacy rights and freedoms, and I don't think I've found anybody articulate what is happening, not just in America but around the world, but really here in America, because this is the battleground now for privacy and rights. I don't think I've found anybody who's been able to articulate it so clearly and at a level that many people can understand. It's a very important interview. You can go to my Twitter page. You can find the link to it. If not, just look up Jonathan Turley, C-SPAN interview. One of the things he talks about in the interview is how the Obama administration has essentially said that not only can it remove anybody and detain them indefinitely, it can kill anybody that they want at any given point in time. This is absolutely utterly mind-blowing stuff, that we're dealing with here in this country at this time. And the only person that is part of the presidential primary and the run up to the election that's talking about this is Ron Paul. And Ron Paul is appalled over the fact that this is taking place. And it's funny. It's like, conservatives have just completely trashed this whole concept of freedom and rights. They've trashed it. And a lot of the trashing has taken place because there is a mind-boggling and burgeoning surveillance industry. And they have lobbyists in Washington that are working hand in glove 24/7 in order to privatize surveillance. Because if the surveillance companies are engaged in watching, listening, then it's in a weird way they're surreptitiously abrogating the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. So private industry, they say follow the money. Well, one of the reasons why our rights are being eroded is because of the surveillance industry. I call it the economy of control. In 2012, we're going to be staring that down in a really big way. Big way. And I don't know, we won't have midterms, but I am telling you, if you value whatever remains of your personal rights and freedoms, anybody who's ever up for re-election in 2012, Congress or Senate, if there's it won't be the midterm, but there will be some people. You've got to stress to these people that freedoms and rights are essential to the slate. And you may have to vote outside of your comfort zone. You might have to vote outside of red or blue or conservative or progressive because Congress has trampled all over personal rights and freedoms. And even the conservative judges on the Supreme Court have stated that people aren't even really people anymore. Corporations are people. You can't count, Anthony Kennedy might be the only guy on the Supreme Court that has any kind of of anchor in this whole realm of, perhaps antiquated realm of personal rights and liberties. So you have a choice. You have a choice in 2012. Will you vote, if you vote, based on your voting history, based on your ideological preference, or can you get outside of your comfort zone and vote for the candidates that will represent the most fundamental and basic freedoms that we theoretically are entitled to, which is privacy. Privacy, not anonymity, privacy. That's a very personal question. Most people don't vote outside their comfort zone ever. I urge you to consider the possibility in 2012. Okay, it is 11:30 and there are no more callers in the queue, which means that we're pretty much done here for the day. My name is Robert Phoenix. You've been listening to the last version. Oh, somebody asked me, I think it was, who was it? It was Gates, about the Gates 7 was asking about the eclipse in my chart. I'd have to chart that out. I'd have to spend time. It would be, obviously, early degree Capricorn, so it would be in my second house. So I don't know. Maybe I'll let you know on the next show. Anyway, my blog, robertphoenix.com. You can go there, check it out. I think what I'm going to do between now and the first of the year is I didn't really do it. Did I do it last year? I think I did. I think I might have done it last year. I did predictions. I'm going to do predictions again this year. And a lot of my predictions, I hate to say it come true. Somebody's sneaking in with a call. Let's see who they are, what they want to talk about. Hello, you're on the air with Robert.
Oh, hi. How are you?
I'm great.
Oh, okay. I thought I had missed you. I was just about to press the button. Oh, goodness, I've lost my train of thought. Oh, I was trying to see, for me moving, if you see me moving, or when should I move, that kind of thing. I don't want to move too soon. So that's basically my question.
Okay, and what's your name?
Deidre, I'm sorry. Deidre from Florida.
Okay, Deidre from Florida. Let's do your chart, and let's look at timing and maybe even where. Hold on, let me go.
Okay.
Let me go here. Let's see, quick chart.
I so thought I missed you.
You snuck in, you little rascal.
I tell you, I got a bad habit of that, too.
It's all right. Better late than never, right? So when's your birthday?
It is June 16th.
June 16th?
Yeah.
And what year was that?
78.
Okay. And time?
Wow. I was told it was in the morning, but I don't know the exact time. I'm trying to get that because I don't know.
Morning. All right. Let's do 8 o'clock.
Okay.
We'll just put that down. And where were you born?
I was born in Florida.
Mm-hmm. Okay. City?
Oh, Jacksonville. I'm sorry. In Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. All right. Jacksonville. There we go. Jacksonville, Florida. And okay, so you are a Gemini, right?
Yeah.
and you have a Libra moon, which is nice. 25 degrees Libra moon. Your moon is right on top of my Venus, so you and I would actually get along really well. 27-degree Mercury in Gemini over your Sun. Interesting. Mercury over your Sun. If you're going to have, there's this whole theory of Mercury pre-Sun or Mercury after Sun. What I like about your Mercury is that it's a 3-degree orb. It gets it a little close to the Sun, but it's on the other side of it. So it's sort of a meal. When you get Mercury too close to the Sun, sometimes people can have a challenging time with like their thinking. Like my son has Mercury within 3 degrees of his Sun, and he talks a lot. And that's one of the things that happens with people that have Mercury really close to their Sun. They talk a great deal. His Mercury's in Pisces, so it's a little sloppy at times. And he has, one of the things that he likes, he thinks that by finishing work, he's young, he's only 7, by finishing schoolwork really quickly and faster than anybody else, it's better. Like he just wants to get things done, right? But it's a little sloppy, and so we're trying to get him to take more time with things. But when Mercury is on the other side of the Sun, it takes some of that stress and tension off of Mercury being so close to the Sun. So because it's more like you lead with your personality versus your mind. And that's the distinction between the two. You've got Venus and Leo at 0 degrees, and you've got Mars in Virgo. Mars is in Virgo right now, so you've got a Mars return, which is important, and Jupiter Cancer, 12 degrees. Okay, so here's what we got going for you. Saturn right now is right on top of your moon. When you have a Saturn-Moon conjunction in your chart, it's not a great time to move. You want to wait for Saturn to get off your moon, because generally speaking, the moon represents the home, represents foundation, represents kind of where we are, and all that stuff. Saturn on the moon is saying, take stock of where you are, finish up business, don't necessarily be in a hurry to move. Okay.
Okay.
What I would do if you wanted to plan a move, I would try to take advantage of the Jupiter transits in 2012, because Jupiter will be in Gemini, right? And personally, do you have to move? Is it important?
No,
for you?
it's just not. I'm not being forced. It's just so unhappy where I'm at, and things are just not. It's just like, gosh, this is not, and I just, for a long time, I've been wanting to go back home city rather, to Jacksonville from where I'm at, and it's just like, I'm just getting that thing where I'm like, maybe I need to move. I'm kind of in between. It's hard to think, like you said earlier. It's hard to, my thinking is just kind of all over the place.
Saturn on your moon would be homesickness.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. So what you want to do? So it's like, you want to go home. It's like you want to. Yeah. Where you? So, are you in Florida now?
Yeah, I'm in Florida now, and that's the thing. It's like job, house, and all that. It's like, gosh, can't just pick up and move. So I knew in a way I couldn't just pick up and go. So I said, well, let me figure out a better time to go if I'm gonna go.
Okay, let me just say that I'm gonna preach patience here, because that's what Saturn on your moon is saying, right? Patience. So I would say for you, what you want to do, you want to take advantage of Jupiter in Gemini, because you want to get it close to your Sun. You want to get it in a nice trine with your natal moon. And if we do that, we want to go back to maybe 5 degrees. So, all right, May of 2013, Jupiter moves into Gemini at 20 degrees. And at that point in time, it'll be within a 4 to 5 degree orb of your natal moon, your natal Mercury, your natal Gemini, and will also be sextiling your natal Saturn in Leo. I mean, if you want to go home, if you're homesick, you want to return to that place where, you know, you feel good, I would say that would be a reasonable time to plan towards making a move, okay? So that would be everything from taking all of 2012 to explore job possibilities in Jacksonville,
right,
or to explore, you know, potential living, you know, reach out, make contacts. If you're, I don't think the feeling of being homesick is wrong or incongruent with your chart. I think it's a very real feeling that you need to honor. But I think that you're going to need some planning around this. But if you do it right, if you really do it right, you'll be able to make a move in 2013. Jupiter would support that wholeheartedly.
that's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good, and that's probably what I need. I know it's not like necessarily what I want to do, but then I just have a tendency to just jump up and do. Well, you probably already know it. I have a tendency to just jump up and do stuff. So, you know, so like for Christmas, I've just decided I'm just going to jump up and I'm going to just go and visit. So at least the visit. So I'll go in. Yeah,
this is great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Gemini, you know, people that have a strong Gemini connection, or like, for instance, the Mercury-Sun conjunction in Gemini. You know, I talked with Jeff earlier in the show because he had all these planets in the third house, which is Gemini. And a lot of people, you know, think that the fourth house is really kind of endemic of home, right? Like the fourth house is home, it's Cancer, it's all that stuff. The third house represents our childhood, and it represents where we grew up. And, you know, and the third house is ruled by Gemini. So people that have Sun in Gemini, Mercury in Gemini, tend to be more, what's the word I'm looking for, sentimental in some ways about where they grew up, their family, brothers and sisters, siblings. And there would be a tendency to want to either go back or reconnect or keep these people around and in their lives, because with those conjunctions in Gemini, those experiences are very close to you and form a very important part of your life. So
that's so true.
Yeah, so I would say, and there's people say you can't ever go home. You know, Tom Wolfe, you can never go home. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think you can go home, and you can go home on your own terms in the right time. You know, you can't ever go home when you want to go home out of a place of need or a place of having to go home. I did it. I tried it at times. It didn't work for me. But you can go home when it's really the right moments and coming from all the right places. And
right.
And you have a year. You have 6 to 9 months to work on that, to get to that place. So I would say, you know, if it's important to you and something you want to do and makes your heart feel, you know, warm inside, why not? You know, if it makes you feel more connected and closer and around people that you love and experiences that are important, you know, that give you meaning in your life, why not? You know, go do it. But again, I would stress, especially with Saturn there, you need to plan it. You need to plan this out.
Yeah, and that all makes sense, to just plan it, and you know, and I told myself maybe I'll just, you know, kind of just visit often and things like that, you know, just the stuff that draws, like the water. Jacksonville's, you know, beaches everywhere. Water just draws me. And so I'll just start going there more often and just, you know, kind of fill the little void and just, you know, and plan it out and just get it all lined up. And
I think
then,
great.
You know.
Yeah. Where in Florida are you now?
I'm in Tallahassee, actually.
That's what I thought, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I'm at. And so, yeah, I'm in Tallahassee, and you know, my job, my house, I built a home, all that. But it's just like, I thought I'd be happy, but it's like, no, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
just
I
want to
tell
go
you
home.
what. You know what? Deirdre, you deserve to be happy. So focus on that, okay?
Okay, well, I really appreciate you so much.
All right. You take care now.
Okay, thank you so
Bye-bye.
much.
I think she needed to focus on that phone call, too. All right, that's it. That's a wrap. RobertPhoenix.com is where you can find the written material, and Twitter. Follow me on Twitter and YouTube and CNN. Wouldn't it be great if I was on CNN one day? Wouldn't that be fun? I can just see it right now. Anderson Cooper. Right now, we'd like to bring on CNN's in-house astrologer, Robert Phoenix. Robert, what can you tell us about what's happening over in China from an astrological perspective? Oh, man, somebody snuck in. Every time I go to end the show, somebody calls in. Let's see who they are. Hi, you're on the air. Who are you? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Evelyn from Arizona.
Hey, Evelyn from Arizona. How are you?
I'm good. Did I sneak in, did I?
You did. It's okay, though. You know, I'm here for 2 hours, theoretically, so until I formally sign off, I can still take callers. And you were there, so I don't put people away. So what's going on?
I'm looking for a job. I was wondering what you see, if anything's going to come up, like ASAP.
Join the ranks, man. It's a pretty intense time. When is your birthday?
9/26/58.
9/26/58. All right, so let's see. 1958. And what time were you born?
AM's all I know.
It's amazing. There's a whole wave of people that don't know when they were born today. Where were you born?
Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Oh, Saskatoon.
Mhm.
All right, Saskatoon. It's not the USA. It's Canada. Sorry. Let's do this. All right, Saskatoon. I've always enjoyed saying that name, Saskatoon. Saskatoon. All right, I put you down at 8 a.m. as well. Let's look at your chart. You've got Mercury in Virgo, Moon in Pisces, Sun, Libra 3 degrees, Jupiter Scorpio, Mars Gemini. Okay, so you're going to have that Jupiter Mars conjunction in 2012. It only lasts about 7 days. So let's find out when that is. It's actually a pretty good conjunction to make stuff happen in your life. Hold on.
Yay.
Window. Let me get my ephemeris up. There we go. And 2012. And okay. So Jupiter goes into Gemini. I believe it's in June. Let me just check here. Yeah, there it is. So you have Mars in Gemini, and it's at 1 degree. Yep. So Jupiter goes into Gemini in June, and that's the 12th of June. And it will be conjunct. It'll actually be, you'll get the conjunction even at like 26 degrees, 27 degrees Taurus, about 27 degrees Taurus. It'll be the 31st of May, all the way up through the 20th of June. Maybe go to. So you've got about 3 weeks from the 31st of May to about the 27th, 28th of June. You want to strike while the iron is hot. That is a major moment for you.
Mm-hmm.
It could be anything from moving, for new work, to new work. So just circle that off. The first part of June. Now, it probably doesn't help you getting a job now, but that's actually a very, very propitious time. But I do see longer term solidity for you, and it's at the end of 2012 when Saturn moves into Scorpio, and you're going to have a Saturn-Jupiter conjunction in the first part, in the latter part of 2012, like August, September of 2012. When Saturn and Jupiter conjunct, there's a real feeling of solidity. You know, it's when opportunity meets preparation. So you've got a really nice run with Jupiter and Saturn in 2012, starting with June, going up through September, really August and September of 2012. There's a restlessness, a big restlessness in your chart right now. And that is Uranus opposing your Libra sun. And when you have a Uranus-Sun opposition, there's a really profound sense of wanting to recreate who you are and really want to break free. Okay, so my question to you would be, where are you living now? You're in
Arizona.
Arizona. Do you like where you live?
It's okay. I mean, okay. I've been here for quite a few years now.
Okay, Uranus-Sun opposition. And it's not even quite there yet. You're going to really feel it in 2012. Uranus-Sun opposition would be kind of breaking all the rules, recreating yourself at any cost. Like if you can't find a job within the first 3 to 4 months of 2012, then Uranus-Sun opposition would push you to reconsider everything, and not just what kind of work you do, but where you do it, right?
I'm reconsidering all that now.
Yeah. Well, just wait until 2012, first part of 2012. It's going to get really intense. So if you're sitting on a fence, then the Uranus-Sun opposition will push you right off of it, because you won't have any patience to sit around anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that you may want to think about is going somewhere else for work, going somewhere else for your life, going somewhere else for just about everything. Because when you go to that new place, it won't just be about finding a job. It'll be about recreating your personality. That's what the Sun-Uranus opposition does. You know, you're at a really early degree of Libra, and people that are Libras, I wouldn't say they're people pleasers, but people that are early degree Libra are always trying to figure things out, like how will this affect this person, or how will this affect my relationship with these people, you know, and if it affects them, how will it affect me? People that have really early degree Libra are trying to balance that out, you know, and Sun, Uranus and Aries, it just takes a flamethrower to that. It's like you can't be worried about how it's going to impact other people. You can't be worried about how it's going to impact your relationship based on how it's going to impact those people. You just have to get really clear about recreating yourself. That's what the opposition is bringing up. Good thing is, and this is, I mean, and you need to catch it now while you can. You've got Pluto trining. It's kind of on the back end, trining your natal Pluto. Pluto's at 5 degrees. And it moves forward in 2012. You've still got the trine, but it's moved away from your natal Pluto. It's a time of recreating who you are when you have the Pluto-Pluto trine. You've got Neptune trining your natal Neptune in 2012. That's really good. You know, you've got Neptune trining your natal Jupiter in 2012. When we talk about Neptune trines to Neptune, Neptune trines to Jupiter, these are subtle energies. Very subtle energies. They're not, kick down the door energies and make shit happen. They are attracting what you need vis-a-vis intention, magnetism. You know, one of the, Jupiter, people that have Jupiter and Scorpio have pretty profound sexual energy. And when we talk about sexual energy, it's not just about what happens in the bedroom or between the sheets. It's also about, how we attract people, how we attract opportunities, how we attract things in our life. it's Jupiter and Scorpio is about desire. So, when Neptune, transiting Neptune trines your natal Jupiter in 2012, one of the things that would really work for you is desire. What do you desire? What do you feel? Like when I say desire, it's like about, what would really turn you on? What kind of work would turn you on? What do you see yourself doing? What would feel good? You get into it and go, ooh, that feels really good. I'd like that. I'd like to have a job like that. I could see myself doing it. I could really feel myself doing that. I can get excited about it. I can get passionate about it. That's what you want to move towards in 2012. It's about using very subtle energies to draw opportunity towards you. And you do that by getting excited, by getting turned on, by saying, I can totally see myself in this job or doing these things.
Right.
But again, it's probably not going to happen where you are. I'm telling you that right now, only because Uranus wants to say, get out of there, recreate yourself, and don't necessarily. Look, we all have contracts with people, whether they're implied or whether they're, literal contracts. Whether they're children, whether they're relationships, whether they're soul contracts. We all have them. I have a contract with my son, right, to raise him,
Right.
and I have a literal contract with my ex-wife for that to happen on a 50-50 basis. So that's an implied and literal contract. When Uranus opposes your sun, what happens is that you have to bring all of those into consideration, and there are times where you have to void the contract, or because the energy is so intense that in order for you to fully engage who you are, you're going to have to, in some ways, render judgment onto contracts that can no longer be fulfilled.
So relocating might be part of that then, right?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah.
Do you see the relocation would be because of a job, or would it be more because of a relationship?
It could be either, but because you have Sun in Libra at such an early degree, your identity is really woven into the concept of relationships. So you theoretically could move to another place if a relationship is drawing you to that place, or you could, take out the scalpel and just slice all of your existing relationships away in order to move. But status quo is not going to be part of your game plan in 2012. It's just not.
Mm-hmm.
You have to free up energy in order to make change in your life. And Uranus opposing the sun is demanding that you free that energy up.
That's interesting. I've been thinking of relocating because I don't know. There's parts of me that feels like I'm just not. There's nothing here.
All right, I'm going to do something real quick here, and then we're gonna transition out of here. We're going to find out again, based on astrocartography, where in North America theoretically would be a more appropriate place for you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a lot of lines. So right now, let me just tell you right now, Chiron and your true node, actually your true node is running right through Phoenix, which is really interesting. It's on your ascendant in Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
I find that fascinating, which means that's not a terrible place for you to live, to be honest with you. But if you wanted to change the energy up, let's say you wanted to bring in that Uranian energy on your midheaven, places like New Orleans, if you were to take a line and draw a line from, say, New Orleans, along the Gulf Coast, and I wouldn't want to live really on the Gulf Coast, but go straight up from there through that part of the country. That would be a really interesting place, or a series of places along those lines. So what are we talking about here? The Ozarks, believe it or not, Arkansas.
Oh, that is so weird you're saying that, because my son goes to college out in that area. Otherwise, I would have nothing to do with that or know about it.
Interesting.
That is so interesting, because he's just home for Christmas right now, but he goes to college near the Ozarks.
Uh-huh. I tell you, the Ozarks are actually a pretty interesting place. It's one of the largest aquifers in the United States.
That's what I hear.
And the thing that's also really interesting about the Ozarks is once you're kind of in, and people like accept you, it's like you are like family in that area. It's a very, very, very fierce social network amongst people in that area once you're in. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how long it takes to get in a place like that.
I don't. Depends who you are, I think.
Yeah, but that line is really interesting, because that's where your Uranus is. You want to shake things up, that would be a pretty fascinating place. And then you've got Jupiter and Neptune coming down from North Dakota, kind of pretty far west of Minneapolis, again through Kansas City, Oklahoma City, Albuquerque, west of Dallas. Those lines are actually pretty good. Jupiter on your ascendant, expanding your if you wanted to move, during that Jupiter trine, we were talking the Jupiter-Mars conjunction, that would be that area would be really good. I don't have a map. I don't have a clear map of all the cities, but it's really coming down from about, say, 250 miles west of Minneapolis, at a diagonal west of Kansas City, just slightly west of Oklahoma City, west of Dallas, all through that line. That could be a really interesting place for you. Neptune and Jupiter on the ascendant. We talked about Neptune being the energy that would be really powerful for you in 2012. So there we go. Those are the lines. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Very good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I have to run. The show's almost over. So thanks for calling in. I hope it was helpful.
You.
Yeah. You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. And that's it. That's the end of the show. All right. I want to thank everybody for calling in and being in the chat room. And robertphoenix.com is where you can find more of this. If you want to schedule a full reading, it's amazing. Generally this time of year, I am swamped with reading. Nothing. I think it's because I raised my rates. Maybe that's it. And I'm still a big bargain in the astrological marketplace. Let me tell you. All right. Use your head to discern what's real, your heart to step into what's possible. I'll see you on Friday with Less Visible. Don't miss it. It's going to be a great end of year show. Let me just play this piece of music. What is this? Let's try this. I haven't heard this in a long time. See you on Friday.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.